When I hit this thing, don't freak out. Are you guys ready? This is the time we've all been waiting for. I'd like to call this meeting of the Governing Board of the Deer Valley Unified School District to order at 7 o'clock on Tuesday, January the 10th.
So moved.
Second.
Oh.
I don't think we're there yet.
Old habits die hard.
All I did was call us to order.
Yeah.
You have to understand, the superintendent gets one meeting where he gets to open this thing, and they're already messing my meeting up. So that's what I meant, enhancing. We have the pleasure of having the award-winning Sandra Day O'Connor High School Air Force Junior ROTC Color Guard here to present the colors and for the pledge, so please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Item number 3, roll call. All board members are present. Item 4, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adopt the agenda. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
5-0 aye. The next item on the agenda is the organizational meeting, the election of officers. The first item is election of president of the governing board. Do I have a motion?
I would like to make a motion to nominate Ann O'Brien as president.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion. No discussion. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed?
Nay.
2-3, motion fails. Do I have another motion?
I would like to nominate Kim Fisher for president.
Kim Fisher for president is the motion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Motion has been made and a second for Kim Fisher for president of the governing board. Any discussion? We will take a vote. All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed?
Nay.
Any abstention? Abstention. Anyone abstaining?
We all voted.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't.
I voted aye.
4-1. Miss Kim Fisher is the president of the Deer Valley Unified District Governing Board. Miss Fisher, do you want to take it now?
Sure.
Okay.
Next item is the election of the vice president for governing board. I would like to nominate Jenny Frank. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Those
Aye.
opposed?
Aye.
5-0.
5-0.
Okay.
Jenny Frank will be the vice president of the governing board. Next item is the appointment of the Arizona School Boards Association's ASBA legislative delegate. Can I get a nomination?
I would like to nominate Darcy Tweedy.
I will second that. Any discussion? Okay, let's take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 5-0. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the awards, achievements, and recognition. Are we there or are we here? Okay.
Good evening, President Fisher, members of the Governing Board, Superintendent Weitenheimer, and special guests. We begin tonight by recognizing the group that presented our colors this evening. The Sandra Day O'Connor High School Air Force Junior ROTC earned an overall rating of exceed standards during their recent unit evaluation. This is the highest rating possible. Achieving a rating of exceed standards is no small feat. It takes team effort and a lot of hard work. Both of these attributes were evident during the assessment, which impressed the evaluator, who pointed out the dedication and commitment of the instructors, as well as the professionalism and dedication to service displayed by the Cadet Corps. The Sandra Day O'Connor program is the definition of the term successful unit and is recognized as an established benchmark for others to follow. Congratulations to Lieutenant Colonel John C. Simmons and Master Sergeant John Beatty and the Air Force Junior ROTC cadets from Sandra Day O'Connor High School. Congratulations. Each year, Valley Metro holds an art contest for local third grade students. This year's 12th annual Valley Metro Cool Art Contest recognized the artwork of 2 third grade students from the Deer Valley Unified School District. Winners will have their artwork displayed in the calendar for 2017. From Sierra Verde STEM Academy, Alina Rafiath created a colorful cityscape with the words "Save the Air." Alina's artwork will be featured in the month of April. Congratulations, Alina Rafiath. And from Desert Mountain School, Karis Sanchez drew a bus driving by castles and coasters and a McDonald's, perhaps a hint at some places she would like to visit. Karis's artwork will be featured next month in February. Congratulations, Karis Sanchez. Hang on. Their artwork wouldn't be possible without our wonderful art teachers, so I do want to recognize Mrs. Ting from Sierra Verde and Mrs. Sands from Desert Mountain. And this contest wouldn't be possible without Valley Metro, who has provided each governing board member with a copy of the calendar that you'll find at your seat, and Valley Metro has brought many more of these. We've placed them out on the table outside, so if you'd like to grab one on your way out, please feel free to do that. We thank Valley Metro's Helen Romsberg, the Transit Education Coordinator, who is here tonight to say a few words.
Thank you very much. Valley Metro is extremely proud of the winners of the contest from the Deer Valley School District, and so happy that you're honoring them today. This is a contest that we thoroughly enjoy doing, and it wouldn't be possible without the help of their parents and the teachers. Mrs. Sands has been very supportive of the program and had numerous winners through the previous years. This is our 12th annual, but Mrs. Ting, it's her the first time that one of her students won, but we're looking forward to the support in the future. So thank you so much. Truly appreciate it.
How about their families? We invite their families to come up for the photo. Thank you. Congratulations. The Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade is an annual American tradition, and Sandra Day O'Connor High School had not one but 2 members of this year's Macy's Great American Marching Band. Sandra Day O'Connor High School sophomores, Tabitha Turner and Kaylin Wilbur, were named to the Macy's Great American Marching Band. Only the top musicians from around the country are selected. Tabitha and Kaylin spent a week in New York City during Thanksgiving, performing at various venues, visiting famous attractions, seeing a Broadway musical, attending a leadership workshop, marching in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, which was witnessed by 2.5 million people along the parade route and about 50 million people on TV. Congratulations, Sandra Day O'Connor and Macy's Great American Marching Band members, Tabitha Turner and Kaylin Wilbur. want that picture in the background? Okay. Oh, let's just do the kids. Our final recognition tonight is to the Safeway Foundation, who provided more than $45,000 to Deer Valley Schools, and the parent volunteer who helped make the donations possible. As part of Safeway's grand reopening in Anthem, the Safeway Foundation provided grants to Anthem School, who will put their grant money towards new choir risers; Boulder Creek Cheerleading, who performed at the grand opening, leading community members in cheers; Boulder Creek Choir, who will use their grant money to help fund a trip to sing at Carnegie Hall; Boulder Creek Marching Band, who also performed at the grand opening and plans to use their funds for their trip to the Holiday Bowl, as well as purchasing new band instruments; the Boulder Creek PTO is using their grant funds to purchase classroom sets of iPad keyboards and to help make school improvements; Canyon Springs will implement the mask program school-wide to engage stakeholders and empower students to make safe and healthy choices. Diamond Canyon School is excited that their grant funds will allow their award-winning fine arts department to purchase performance attire. Gavilan Peak School is planning to use their funds to work towards technology and integration that supports student understanding of STEM-based learning. And New River Elementary is working on becoming a STEM-focused school. The grant money will be used to buy technology for students to support STEM education. We thank the Deer Valley Education Foundation and Marie Brennan for her support and assistance with these grants. And they wouldn't have been possible without the coordination and support of parent volunteer extraordinaire Myong Covert. Myong shared a wonderful personal story at the grand opening about how a business like Safeway can truly be a community partner, and we ask that she share that tonight with our governing board.
Good evening, governing board members and all you esteemed guests. So Safeway is one of these grocery stores that just is not a grocery store. For me, it's all about community. Anthem is special in the sense that we're kind of a bit of an isolated community. So community to me is when all factions or all groups of a community come together, like the businesses, the organizations, and most importantly, the public schools and business. We all work together to make our public schools, which I'm a very, very big proponent of public schools. But before even Safeway gave $50,000, my mother, when she lived with us, would go into Safeway every Saturday. And my mother lived with us for 10 years, and she had a routine, and everyone at Safeway is just exceptionally wonderful. And when my mother passed away, it was very touching to me that when I would go into the store, that members, the grocery store, I mean, from the deli to the pharmacy to the vegetable department, they would all ask how I was doing, because I had just lost my mother. Ladies and gentlemen, that is community. And to have Safeway contact me, I had called them because, you know, at Boulder Creek, we feed our teachers every single month. Teachers, in fact, I'm getting ready for a luncheon in a week. So sometimes I'm running short of something. And so to feed 100 teachers, in fact, Dr. Weidenheimer was there, and some of the governing board members have been able to attend our monthly teacher luncheons. When I'm running short and I need help, I'll call Safeway, and do you know they've never told me no? And I was running low on something for this Christmas, and I called Nancy Keene, who I'm so sad cannot be here tonight. I said, Nancy, I need 125 bagels. She says, Myung, I'll do better than that. I'll give you $5,000. And she says, I want to give you not only $5,000 for the PTA, the band, and she did whatever. But I want you to let you know that it is. Our Anthem community works because of businesses like Safeway. And you know what? To come together and to uphold our teachers and our students, that's what community is truly about, and that's what DVUSD is about. But anyway, Dr. Lohmeyer, I'm sure he'd be thrilled to be elevated to PhD. Nothing against you, Dr. Ron. But he's a wonderful artist at Boulder Creek High School. He did a beautiful painting, and I thought that was going to the foundation, but Safeway kept it in Anthem. Mr. Lohmeyer painted another wonderful Jaguar to have at the Safeway headquarters. So we'll present this to Ms. Keene when I can. But thank you for this incredible recognition. And it's really Safeway. I've never seen a company just write checks too close to $5,000 for our schools. Not the charter schools, but our schools. Amen to that. Thank you.
And true to form, Myung would not like any recognition, but I would like to say that we could not have done this without her coordination and her hard work. So please join me in thanking her.
If there's anyone, now that the awards are done, that would like to leave, now's the time. We always give the opportunity for anyone who doesn't want to stay through the whole business part of the meeting to go ahead and leave. So we'll give them a couple minutes. No, you have to stay.
He is. He sat through many board meetings. Well, you notice my son's not here anymore.
All right. Now we're to governing board reports. Who would like to go first? Ms. Ordway?
Normally I would have done this at the beginning of the meeting, but it was not a normal beginning of a meeting. So briefly before I get into my report, I just wanted to have just a moment of silence because we did, over the winter break, lose one of our very beloved teachers, Deb Fitzgerald, very unexpectedly. So just a moment of silence for her would be awesome. Thank you. Okay, I did not want to start things off sad, but she was just such a great part of our district. Anyway, so over the winter break, I think everybody relaxed except for some of the sports teams and the band directors and the kids that traveled here, there, and everywhere. There were practices, so I got to see a lot of that stuff on Twitter and social media, other forms of social media. Congratulations to Ms. Frank for her vice presidency, and Ms. Fisher. I hope that we can all look forward from January on tonight and work together in a very transparent and open way. Welcome back, everyone, and my children are getting their licenses in another 3 weeks, so I'll be able to be let out and be at campuses and do a lot more stuff like that. So thank you very much.
Ms. O'Brien.
Thank you, Mrs. Fisher. Welcome back, everybody. I hope everybody enjoyed their break and was able to relax some. It's been a very exciting month since I've last seen everybody. In December, I was blessed to present with Director Cheryl Paul and Ms. Sapuka on working together to meet the social and emotional needs of our students at the Arizona School Boards Association. And the ladies, they just knocked it out of the ballpark. It was an incredible presentation, and I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to present with them on such an important topic to other governing board members and superintendents from across the state. In addition to enjoying my Christmas break with my family, I was honored to be the guest of Representative Carter yesterday at the State of the State address. Very amazing opportunity, and was most excited and awed to have Governor Ducey start with education, and I took out my phone so I could start taking notes on what he was going to say about education, and I had to give up after 11 because who knew he was going to do 18 points for education and talk so quickly. But thank you, Jim, for providing those points to me in writing. It was most exciting to hear him talk about all the things he would like to provide around teachers' pay. Was a little sad to hear about the full-day kindergarten only being provided to the schools with the lowest income, which would not fall to Deer Valley. But he did have a lot of good points, and I guess we'll see on Friday how we're going to pay for all of that. I was a little nervous about where that money is coming from. But it was an exciting opportunity. I was happy to be able to represent Deer Valley School District. So thank you so much. And congratulations to Mrs. Fisher and Miss Frank, and to Mrs. Tweedy. Welcome. Looking forward to working with everybody.
Darcy, Jenny, who wants to go?
Well, I've only been on the board about 5 minutes, just enough time to prepare a brief report. I would like to thank everyone who has come out tonight to welcome me and Ms. Ordway and Ms. Tweedy to the governing board. It's nice to see so many friendly, familiar faces. Usually you don't see this many people at the board meeting unless somebody's mad about something, so it was very nice to see everyone smiling tonight. And I just want to say a special thank you to my father, who made the sacrifice to come in all the way from Oklahoma just to be here tonight. And just to give you an idea of the sacrifice that he made, it was only -2 when he left Oklahoma City on Saturday and braved the warm and balmy weather here in Phoenix, but not to worry. He is leaving tomorrow because he does not want to miss the ice storm that is forecast for Oklahoma over the weekend. And I would also like to say, thank you. And just as a side note, he was president of the school board when I graduated from high school, so it really means a lot to me to have him here tonight. And then I would also like to thank Ms. Ordway, Ms. O'Brien, and Ms. Fisher for welcoming me to the board. And I'm also looking forward to working with everyone and doing great things for Deer Valley. And thank you, Dr. Weitenheimer and Kim Redding, for organizing a lovely reception and welcoming us as well. Thank you.
Darcy?
I was also going to say to everyone.
Okay. I was also going to say thank you to everyone, and Jenny beat me to it, but I would just like to thank everyone who came out tonight. It was nice to see so many friendly faces here and so many people that I used to work with. So, and I would also like to thank Kim Redding for everything she did to put this together, and I'm looking forward to serving Deer Valley, so thanks.
Ditto to what Ms. O'Brien said. Their presentation at the ASBA was wonderful. It was wonderful to see our administrators along with our board members. It shows that we can unite. We just have to choose to do so. I was also very excited to hear that there's never been an all-female board. So maybe that's something different. Maybe we have an opportunity to start something a little different, do things a little different. Not that a man couldn't do it as well. It's just that we have an opportunity. It's a new year, and I think we have 5 willing board members, and I know we have a district full of willing and excellent employees. And together we can make Deer Valley even a better place than it already is. I have to say, for all of you who did have that lovely 2-week break, isn't it so hard on Tuesday? Monday you were excited to come back. Tuesday, not so much. Wednesday will be better. I'm right there with you. Yeah. And on the upside, next weekend's a 3-day weekend bonus. Unless you're doing the PF Chang like Miss Paul, then you won't be able to walk on Monday. I'll be right there with you, so it's okay. So that's the start of our new year, and keep the communication with us open. I want to thank Ms. Ordway and Ms. O'Brien for starting the year, for helping me welcome Jenny and Darcy to a new board. I think that we can work very well together. And Darcy and Jenny bring a perspective that I don't think we've ever had on the board either. So together we're going to make a wonderful team. And that's it for my report. Dr. Weitenheimer.
Thank you, President Fisher. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy 2017. There are a couple of current events that I wanted to give some information, share some information about. The first, Ms. O'Brien, you talked about, and that was the State of the State address. And Jim has tried to monitor that great big long list as well of things that the governor has at least outlined that he's interested in. And Jim, I don't know if you wanted to highlight a couple of those for the community or for anybody that's they'll be streaming our meeting. You might want to just give them a sense of what the governor was talking about.
Certainly. Thank you, Dr. Weidenheimer. President Fisher, members of the board, I provided just a one-page summary of the 16 points that the Honorable Governor Ducey outlined in his State of the State address yesterday. I think some of the things, I think the top 6 items are things that I believe he was a little bit more in detail about during his address, so more likely that those are his priorities. And so I'll just run through those. There are 16 things on the list, so I don't have any more details about this other than what was provided in the actual speech itself. But the first thing was that he wanted to provide additional money to public education above inflation for all the years that he's governor of the state. So that is something that we look forward to getting more details on, and we hope to have that by this Friday. As Ms. O'Brien mentioned, his budget will be released, is expected to be released this Friday. Also a plan to provide a permanent lasting salary increase to the teachers in the state. Don't have any details about that beyond what he stated. So we'll again look to get more details as those become known. The third point that he made was trying to find a way to help relieve some tuition debt for teachers so that there are more incentives to deal with the teacher shortages that we are continuing to be faced with each year. The fourth item was a $1,000 signing bonus for teachers that actually end up in certain low-income schools across Arizona. The fifth item was he made a very passionate speech about Sandra Day O'Connor not being able to be eligible to teach in the state with her credentials, and so he wants to revamp the teacher certification process. And then finally, expanding voluntary full-day kindergarten for low-income schools. Like I said, there are 16 items on the list, so we'll get more details about this and be certainly monitoring this as we work through the legislative session, which is now in session as of yesterday. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that. And governing board members, you might remember right before the holidays, I gave you a very quick update on a really neat program that is happening with our third graders called Read to the Final Four. And we got some interesting information about that today. So I've asked soon-to-be Dr. Cheryl Paul to share a little bit of information about that.
Good evening, President Fisher, Vice President Frank, governing board members, Superintendent Weitenheimer, and guests. I am honored to have been asked to brag, that's right, brag, about our students, our schools, and our administrators as I provide for you an update regarding the NCAA third grade statewide Read to the Final Four. As you recall, there's over 235 schools participating in this statewide event. They're broken up into 4 different regions. Deer Valley represents the northern region in which we have 60 schools that are participating. In December, Dr. Weitenheimer had shared with you, he had reported that the third graders at that time in December had read over 1,603 logged in over 1,603 hours. Today, we have logged in over 4,403 hours of reading. In December, Dr. Weitenheimer had reported that our third grade students had read over 6,356 books. To date, keep in mind, we have a little over 2,000 students participating. To date, about 3 hours ago, we had 17,456 books completed by our participating third grade students. Just a reminder that this is going on simultaneously in conjunction with the NCAA, so it will be completed in March 31st. The first bracket has its cutoff January 24th. At that time, the top 17 schools will move forward from each of the regions. So now I'm very excited to share with you that currently in the top 17, 12 Deer Valley schools are represented. Likewise, it gets even better. We have eight students that are in the top 10. It's pretty exciting. So thank you, teachers, administrators. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Paul, very much. We're very proud of that effort, and thank you for being the coordinator for us. And Ms. Fisher, that concludes the superintendent's report.
Ms. Galligan.
President Fisher, Governing Board members, Dr. Weitenheimer, and distinguished guests. It is our honor to present to you the DVUSD Early Childhood Report. Janet Zeke, Manager of Early Childhood, and Barbara Irvin, Director of Community Education, will share the programs and resources available for children ages birth through 5 years old. This is an information report given annually to satisfy Head Start early childhood requirements.
The Developmental Preschool Program is a federally mandated program for children with special education needs. Developmental preschool services children 3 to 5 with special needs. We currently have 27 classrooms and are located on 19 different campuses throughout the district. We have 620 students enrolled in the developmental preschool classrooms. This number continues to grow as we complete screenings and evaluations throughout the year. Head Start and the Preschool Development Grant are preschool programs that are federally funded for 3 to 5-year-olds based on income eligibility. We have 137 children in our Head Start program and 40 children in the full-day Preschool Development Grant program. This is a total of 800 children between the 3 programs. Research shows that the importance of early intervention, the early childhood years lay the foundation for all future development. Early experiences affect the way the young brain develops. In DVUSD, we provide outstanding services for our preschool children. We utilize typical peers that serve as role models for the students in the classroom. These students pay tuition to attend the program. This tuition is utilized to support the purchase of technology, materials, and furniture when we open new classrooms. We also use this money to purchase snacks and all educational materials for existing classrooms. With the developmental preschool numbers currently at 620 students at midpoint of the year, we are experiencing difficulty with having enough classroom space. Additional classes will need to be added in the near future. These classrooms must be strategically identified based on where the students are identified for services. We work to keep our young learners as close to their home as possible based on space challenges at many of our schools. Evaluations are held by each homeschool campus. This continues to impact the workload of occupational therapists, physical therapists, psychologists, and speech-language pathologists. We have approximately 115 children currently in the evaluation process and have 5 more Child Find screenings this school year. I will share more information about Child Find later in the presentation.
Deer Valley offers a variety of early childhood choices for parents. Another option is our community education, tuition-based general education inclusive model preschool and pre-K programs for students 3 to 5 years of age. These are self-funded programs that do not have an impact on the district M&O. Of the 16 preschool classrooms, 5 classrooms are located on the Boulder Creek, Mountain Ridge, and O'Connor campuses. These programs work directly with our CTE Advanced Early Childhood Education students. These high school students have the opportunity to plan and teach our preschool students, gaining valuable workplace experience. The Deer Valley Family Resource Center provides support to strengthen families through workshops and developmentally appropriate activities that encourage parent-child bonding, early literacy, school readiness, and community building. In support of this mission, the center empowers parents and caregivers to become educators themselves and join in the job of their child's learning during the early developmental years by providing resources and referral information to the families of all 33 Deer Valley schools, as well as their surrounding communities.
DVUSD was awarded a $184,000 preschool development grant. This enabled us to add 20 full-time PDG slots. We are now able to provide preschool to 40 students that may not have qualified for other preschool programs. Quality First, a signature program of the First Things First funds quality improvements that research proves helps children thrive, such as training for teachers to expand their expertise in working with young children, and coaching to help providers create learning environments that nurture the emotional, social, and academic development of every child. Through our participation, 20 classrooms currently receive stipends for resources, and 7 of the 20 classrooms receive scholarships for students that meet the income eligibility criteria set forth by First Things First, Quality First. Child Find is a process to locate, identify, and evaluate all children with disabilities. We hold 11 Child Find screenings throughout the year. We screen approximately 55 children at each screening. If a child requires further evaluation, they are referred to the homeschool campus for a play-based evaluation. We evaluate more than 300 students every school year. After the evaluation is held, the team determines if the child needs special education services. All therapies are provided in the least restrictive environment. This could be a developmental preschool classroom, Head Start classroom, or PDG classroom. Head Start is a federally funded program. We received $826,768 from the City of Phoenix to provide services to 137 children for the 2016-2017 school year. The students attend school for 6.5 hours a day, 4 days a week, and receive breakfast and lunch at school. The City of Phoenix provides caseworkers and mental health specialists to work with the students and their families. They ensure that the students have access to medical and dental services. We provide ongoing parent trainings and family involvement nights. Shared governance is a federal requirement of the Head Start, and one of the requirements is to share information to our governing board each year about Head Start in Deer Valley. This is the process by which both the governing board and the parent policy of Head Start make key decisions about the program. The parent policy has a shared program governance with the governing school board. Our parent policy is comprised of current parents and community members that meet monthly to discuss the Head Start program and to make decisions. The parent policy votes to approve issues that are also voted upon by the governing board. The shared governance items include voting upon the hiring of staff, approving the budget, and refunding application, policy committees, bylaws, impasse procedures. We encourage the governing board members to attend the parent policy meetings, which are held on the third Wednesday of each month at 9:30 in the district training lab.
We have state-of-the-art curriculum, technology, and resources in our classrooms that build upon the successful transition of our students into the kindergarten classrooms throughout our district. We invite you to visit any of our preschools to see their work in action. If you are at one of our 3 high schools that have the preschool programs, we encourage you to stop by the early childhood classrooms as well.
We are very proud of the preschool program options available for parents and the opportunities for social and emotional growth as well as academic preparation with our youngest learners. We bring you this as an information-only item with no upcoming action for the board to consider at this time regarding early childhood services. Thank you very much.
It was a fabulous report. I just did want to make one addition. When you say that the community programs don't have an impact on our M&O, I beg to differ because I do believe that the impact they have is giving us back money to add to the M&O. So don't be so humble.
Thank you.
So, Brian.
Thank you. On the third Wednesday of each month, what time does that meeting start?
9:30.
Thank you so much.
I had a couple questions. Is it not working again? Oh. The first thing was, so with the spacing, with the space requirements, are all the rooms now filled at Mountain Shadows, or are they all going to be special needs or some community ed? Or
Ms. Tweedy, currently they are all developmental preschools that are at Mountain Shadows. There are available classrooms. They're just not the closest to where we have needs for placing students at this time.
So you're using all the 6 classrooms there?
We're using
Or-
3 of the classrooms currently.
And did you add bathrooms? Or no, that was a discussion. Are you going to add bathrooms?
No bathrooms have been added yet.
Ms. Fisher, Ms. Tweedy, that is in the plans for this upcoming summer work and renovation of those particular classrooms. And as Janet mentioned, we first try to place kids closest to their home campus. And then when we can't, that's when we will start transporting them. And we try and transport them as short as we possibly can. We will fill up Mountain Shadows. But right now, we're looking at some areas that have needs for children to be placed, and we don't have space.
Well, no, I guess I was just confused because I'm trying to figure this out. So Mountain Shadows is going to be all developmental preschool. So are you saying you don't have space for developmental preschool, community ed, Head Start, or the high school programs? It was all lumped. I wasn't sure what you were saying you were short on space for.
President Fisher, Ms. Tweedy, actually, we have not yet filled those classrooms at Mountain Shadows. It could be the location of the classroom we may need in February, but again, where we have the screenings and the kids who are being evaluated and are actually placed in a preschool program, that is a long distance from where their home campus is. Doesn't mean that we would not transport them there. So those are the areas that we are looking in.
So you're saying you don't have enough space? I guess I was just a little bit confused because the presentation included Head Start.
Mm-hmm.
It included developmental preschool, and then it included community ed. Are you saying you're out of space for all of these programs? Some of I was just. Or are you only saying you're out of space for developmental preschool?
President Fisher, Ms. Tweedy, it might be worthwhile for us to provide you that information this Friday. We would be happy to get that to you in our update.
Okay, and then I'm sorry, I just had one more question. So I was looking on the website at the programs you had available, and it looks like extended hours are only available at the high schools. Is that correct?
That is correct. We have tried at some of the elementary schools. Because of the cost involved in it, we've had to regionalize it and provide it at the high school campuses. And at that, it is hit or miss whether it's fiscally responsible on our part, but it is a need of some of our families, so we do still provide it at a cost most times.
I was wondering that because I was wondering with the community ed, I was wondering, are the programs with the extended hours, do they have room in them? Because a lot of parents in the district, then they have 2 working spouses. And I was looking at some of the private preschools in our boundaries, and they offer for $35 to $45 a day, extended day. And I was thinking that those programs probably better meet working parents' needs. I would think our schools would be more convenient if they had siblings, but without the extended hours, I would think they would choose a private preschool. So I don't know. I just was wondering about the extended hours. I would just like information on the cost or why we don't do it.
Okay, our cost is $100 for the month on either end, and also in the middle of the day if they want an extended lunch period. So at that rate, we can't outprice ourselves. A lot of the outside for-profit will do till 7 o'clock. That's a little late. Our objective is primarily for the education of these students, not as child care, but we do offer it at 3 of the locations.
Okay, I would just like information on like the cost of the extended day, just to see if we're competitive, because I know they offer education at some of these places too.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your report.
I'm just curious, how many of our schools have a developmental preschool on their campus? I know where I taught at Copper Creek, we had a developmental preschool. So I'm just curious as to how many, whether they're primarily at K-6s or there's some at K-8s.
We have developmental preschools on 19 of our campuses.
Okay. And then you mentioned receiving funds from a preschool development grant. How long does that grant extend for? What time period are those funds available to us?
It is a 4-year grant, and we are currently in year 2, and we have to reapply each year.
So there is the possibility of the grant being renewed after year 4? Or receiving
This is
money.
year 2. There's a opportunity to receive the grant next year and the year after, and then at that point, they don't know if the grant will continue or what they're going to do with it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I just have to give you ladies my usual thank you. I don't know, I guess by now everybody knows that my son started Deer Valley at 3 years old in one of your programs, one of your developmental programs. And I have to show this little package sitting at my desk. It's a little gift for my son from Bill, who was the bus driver in your developmental preschool, who put my son, who is now 6'2" and 17 years old, in a car seat day after day for all those years. The impact you're doing is wonderful. At the time, we didn't know he had autism. We didn't know anything. We knew he had a child that needed help, and your programs are wonderful. I would hope that any grants that they see that the impact these have with the increase in autism and the increase in developmental disabilities of students in general, whether it's PDD, NOS, or something else, the work you ladies are doing is wonderful, and I appreciate your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it for our reports. We're going to move on to our consent agenda. If I can get a motion.
I move that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve consent agenda items 9A through 9E.
Second.
Any discussion?
Consent agenda.
Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's 5-0. We're going to move on to our action items. 10A. Can I get a motion? 10A?
Okay, so is there a motion that the governing board accept the administration's recommendation to approve the human resources changes?
Can I get a second? Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's 5-0. Next one.
Next one.
Okay. We have action item 10B. Can I get a motion?
Action item that the governing board approve the travel for board members Kim Fisher, Jenny Frank, Ann O'Brien, Ann Ordway, Darcy Tweedy, and Superintendent Dr. James Weitenheimer to attend the National School Boards Association annual pre-conference on March 24th, 2017, and the annual conference on March 25th through 27th, 2017 in Denver, Colorado.
Second.
Any discussion?
I do have a few questions. Want to go first?
Okay. Darcy?
I could see where it would be important for some of us to attend or bring back the information for a study session, but I think all of us traveling would probably be expensive. I would just be willing to remove my name from this item.
Okay.
Just save some costs.
Jenny?
And I was just wondering, what's the rationale to send 6 people to the conference? Do you expect that will be the outcome for the district? What value will that bring to the district, employees, students, in terms of sending all 5 board members and the superintendent? So I'd be interested in hearing what the thoughts are on that.
Okay. This item was brought forward by Ms. O'Brien, so I would like to give her the opportunity to kind of explain the rationale behind it, and then we can take additional commentary.
Thank you, Mrs. Fisher. The annual National School Board Conference in Denver offers over 200 workshops and also provides an opportunity for the group. So it provides an opportunity for the group to attend different workshops, because clearly with that many workshops, it's not possible for just one or two of us to gain go to all of those workshops in such a short time frame. In addition, I think one of the things that I would like to see our governing board focus on from the beginning here is uniting as a team. And sometimes when a group travels together and has to be together, there's some bonding that happens. And having, I'm excited at the possibilities for this new board to establish that foundation of teamwork and working together and learning. In addition, there's several areas from student achievement to technology, and I apologize, there's like 5 or 6 other areas where they are focusing on those workshops where we can attend those workshops and bring that information back. Deer Valley is an outstanding district, but there's always room for us to improve and grow. And when you have an opportunity to learn from districts across the nation, there's just nuances that it's just remarkable. In talking to other school board members and superintendents at the Arizona School Board Association conferences and workshops I've been able to attend, every person that has been able to attend with their entire school board has commented on how it has, united them and increased their teamwork. And I think that that's an area that should be a focus for this school, us as a governing board. Thank you, Mrs. Fisher.
Ms. Ordway? No? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and comment here as well. One of the things that I thought of when I first saw this item mentioned was last year, Ms. Ordway, Ms. O'Brien, and myself were able to go to Washington, D.C. To advocate for not just Deer Valley, but for all education and for all teachers and students and laws and what's going to happen next. The subject of education in this current atmosphere, nationally and locally, we don't know what wave's going to come next. And the one thing that we do know is that Deer Valley relies on us, all of us, on us as a board, on the superintendent, and on all of our staff. There's no secret that there's been rocky roads on the board in the past, but I will tell you, when we were in Washington, we found a common ground, and that common ground was our students, and it was our ability to advocate with our government, with our elected officials, our higher level elected officials. And at that time is when we had actually thought, it would be really, really nice to build a team with our superintendent. Last year's national conference, we did not even ask to go to because we knew we were going to the conference in Washington. And every board that came back, that went together and united, came back to tell us what a wonderful team they had formed. They had really, really been able to get past those individual, I don't want to call them prejudices, because they're not prejudices, it's ways. I may say something that to me sounds fine and it may be perceived as harsh. But when you spend multiple days, or you spend a plane flight, and you get to see another governing board member who's sitting next to a screaming baby, and they manage to keep their composure and play with the child, or they have a conversation with someone, you get to see the person, not just the person who's here, the actual person behind it. If not this event, I would support us going to an event, all 5 board members with the superintendent, because as the board and superintendent, it's our job to lead the district by setting the example that even if we don't all see eye to eye at all times, we can get past it. So that's just my take on it. If we were to attend, I would like it to see it be all of us, if we were able to, whether it's our schedules. I know the cost is, it would be a higher cost because there is 6 of us going. There are plenty of conference classes and different areas which we would all be able to go to during the day. We don't all hang out together all day. That's the first thing I want to let you know is we get together in the morning, we listen to a speaker, and we say, okay, I'm going to go to legislative, I'm going to go to legal, I'm going to go to advocacy, I'm going to go to ESSA, I'm going to go to, and you split up and you go to your classes throughout the day. Occasionally you slam back into each other and go, yeah, I'm going to that one, and I'm going to that one. And you learn all day long. And you come back together at night, you share a meal, and you share what you learned. I really agree with Ms. O'Brien. It's important that as a board we start this year off as building a team. Whether it's this event or a different one, I don't know. But I just want to say that I really think it's important that we consider some event with the 6 of us. Anyone else?
Well, I'd like to thank both of you for your explanations of the rationale. I do have a question about the total cost or estimated cost. And because I think it's important, to look at that with some of the financial challenges that the district has faced. And it's good to know that the board did not attend last year. So.
Excuse me, Mrs. Fisher.
Yes, Ms. O'Brien.
As far as I can recollect, and certainly there's more experience to my right, I'm not sure that a governing board from Deer Valley has attended a national conference in
About 10 years.
in 10 years. And so that's part of the reason I think that, doing it occasionally, it should not be necessarily an annual event. And I do understand both the cost concerns of both of you, and thank you for looking at that. I would like to say that given the costs and the fact that it is out of state and there are work schedules to be considered, there is an event out of town in Flagstaff in June. That's just a little bit later that we could put on the agenda if the governing board does not want to look at that. I would ask that be put on an agenda in the near future for the 6 of us to attend if that works for our calendars.
I agree with Ms. O'Brien. I mean, we do have the opportunity to do the within state event. It won't be to the level of the national because there is just something you really learn from what other states are doing. We're not alone in this. We're one state in a nation. Just a second. And it does make a difference. I do want to just note for you that knowing that we were expecting that there would be a potential, we did budget for exactly this type of thing. So that budget has been, we did increase the board's budget for the sole purpose of providing this type of event, only the ones for the group. So, Ms. Tweedy?
I would feel more comfortable if we were all going to go to a conference to do the Flagstaff one. I mean, I do agree we should try to work together, and looking forward to the meeting in February with all of you. And I think I would be a lot more comfortable with Flagstaff. That would be a lot less expensive. I do think if there's information that would be really valuable from a national conference, I mean, a few of us should go and maybe bring it back for a study session so that we can have I would like the information. I just don't feel comfortable with us all going.
Okay. Any other comments?
When you go to a national conference, especially when we have the changes at the head of our country right now, the information that will be given to us, there'll be February, March, there'll be some things that are kind of in stone, some things that aren't, and they will be giving, the information we'll get will give us a way to be cohesive on how we then advocate not just Arizona, but nationwide. So when you meet people from the different states, they have different strategies to use, so on. There's just a lot of knowledge that you get, and it helps then when you get home and you're advocating in our house down at at the Capitol. So I find them to be invaluable. The national, and when we went to the equity conference, there were people from the nation, and actually there were a couple of people from Canada there too. But so it just opens your eyes, and it's nice to see how good we're doing, and it's nice to see how bad we're not doing, and it's also nice to get some new tools from other people. So, and I think that this might be a board that we could have a study session and share information out where we can listen to that. So, but
Ms. O'Brien.
Oh,
Good? Okay. I think I would, we do have a motion in place. The opportunity that we do have is we can either pass it as it sits, and then if there's any board members who say they're not available or not able to, we can choose to do it as partial and then do a group later. But we do have a motion and a second, unless I have anybody who wants to make a second motion.
I think Dr.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Could we amend it to send representatives?
To send less than the whole group?
Just say to send representatives from the board to that conference, and then.
Yes.
Yes.
You'd have to make the motion.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to send representatives to the conference.
To amend the motion so that we're sending it
Just
to
representatives.
approve travel for representatives of the governing board and Superintendent Dr. James Weitenheimer to attend the National School Boards Association annual pre-conference and annual conference. Is that
Do we have a
phrased
second?
correctly?
A
Second.
second.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. Can we get a vote?
Aye.
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 5-0.
Oh.
We're going
What,
to go on to 10.
Okay.
President Fisher, sorry, can I ask a point of order question, I guess? Do we, that vote on the amendment, is that just vote to amend the motion? So now we need a second
I thought that was our
vote?
Okay.
Sorry.
We voted
Amend
to
it,
amend
so we
it,
need
so
to-
now we need
okay.
a vote
approve
to
it.
approve it.
Thank you, Ms.
Okay.
Fisher. Aye.
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 Okay. We'll get there.
Okay. So I make a motion.
Yes.
Okay,
We're going to
so
go to
I move that the
10B.
governing board approve reclassification of the current Secretary 5 position into an executive assistant position in the superintendent's office to restructure as needed to have a designated board secretary.
I'll
Do I
second
have
it.
a second?
I'll second it. This item is something that's been kind of kicking around for a while. I'm not going to give a presentation of any type. We currently have an executive assistant for the superintendent that the board shares to do board work. Then we have a secretary for the superintendent's assistant. Due to a lot of continual change and the executive assistant having to work a large number of hours, I brought forward this item just based on what the district I work for does. It does not necessarily have to be done that way. It can be done anyway. The point being that I wanted to alleviate some of the work from Ms. Redding so that she's not working such excessive hours, possibly raise the salary of the second position so that we're not losing, we currently have been replacing that position every 6 months. But the only way I could ever justify in raising a position would be to move duties onto it to make it, that's the only way you're going to alleviate work from one is to move it to somewhere else and to raise that position. It doesn't have to be to executive assistant. But there's a lot of political reasons that people wouldn't want to do it, or position, or other reasons. And I don't really think it's up to me to even speculate what those are. I believe that the board could also alleviate duties by, while the board should never be operational with district business, we could be operational with our own business. I don't know if that's an option. I would like to know first what the superintendent and Ms. Redding, how they feel about things currently. I don't think we should ever expect an exempt employee to work 250 to 300 hours beyond their regular schedule. I think that's excessive. But I'd like to know from the executive office how they feel, and then any board input, and then we'll vote on or amend.
Ms. Fisher, thank you. Nothing really in terms of information from me is different than the last time that we talked about. What we're doing in the superintendent's office is what we, you know, what service we can offer, because that's the service we've been offering. If there are additional things, I think both Ms. Redding and I have said, well, if somebody will tell us what those are, what they look like, and how much time they would consume, we can tell you whether we could do those additional things. This recommendation was not my recommendation. This came as a result of conversations with you. So
correct. I don't believe that the recommendation or our conversations, or even our conversations regarding, it's more of the revolving door of the second position and the excessive hours Ms. Redding's having to work, where she's not additionally compensated for excessive hours. And even if it's not even a money issue, it's a health issue. That's a lot to put on one person, and it's more of a concern that we respect the great duties that Ms. Redding does, and the only way I could think of doing it is to move the board duties to the second position. If the board does not feel that they want to, I have no problem with us becoming more self-sufficient, if the board's willing to. Any comments?
Yeah, I have some comments. To begin with, throughout the organization there are secretaries that do a lot of work. We have done no efficiency study, time study, task study to see if what is being done outside of Kim Redding's office is more or less than, say, a secretary to assistant principal, which at this point in time, when we're going to get our staffing numbers, we're going to talk about possibly cutting secretaries from assistant principals on campuses. So at this point in time, before we have facts that would back that up, I love Kim Redding. I know Kim Redding works hard. I know that there have been an assorted amount or an amount of people that have been in the second office. However, one left for a $5,000 raise, one left because hours were better. So I don't think we can talk about raising a position from a 5 to an executive assistant or anything, because that's not really what I think our purview is. Our purview would be to ask for an efficiency study or a task study, and then to see what the new board members, and I don't know that the new board members know what they want or what they need other than what we're telling them, but to let the superintendent's office do that study. And I know we have a sub there now, but I feel very awkward, and I think it is out of our governance to decide that we need to raise a position before we've done some type of a study, because I will tell you, throughout our district there are people that will say, you know, I work a lot, I do all this, I work a lot, I work hard, I work a lot. When Kim Redding took the second position outside, she took all of her duties from the PR, and that's when it went from a 6 to a 5. So historically, that desk was a Secretary 6. When Kim took it over, she added more to it and went down to a 5 because that was during the time that we had no money. But to me, at this point in time, with that historical fact and the fact that we are going through staffing for all others, especially the high schools where we may lose secretaries to assistant principals, where there'll be a sharing with the principal, I think it would be imprudent to do anything until we have some actual hard facts, and then see what the workload is and see how we can distribute it or categorize it.
I would support if that's the only thing I would ask, and I can't ask other governing boards not to put the work on the superintendent's assistant, but I will personally, I'm willing to take the work of any of my stuff on my own, because I appreciate you and respect that. We do have facts we have some facts. We do have facts, and the facts of the hours, excessive hours.
Right, but
and I do believe that it is our responsibility as governing board members not to run the district, but to affect what our existence causes. And so I have no problem leaving the positions as they are. I believe Ms. Redding has done a lot of work. I am, well, no, I'm not even going to go there. I believe we have the facts that would justify the change, maybe not to executive assistant, but to justify a change. But for political reasons, I can understand why individuals would choose not to. And I'm okay with that. I just think we need to vote and move on. But I would ask that the other governing board members consider the weight of the work that we put on one individual. It's a lot of work to be a superintendent's assistant. And I would just ask that if we're not going to provide, alleviate, not really provide, but alleviate some of the work by moving it, I would ask that the governing board either work together to take on some of our own responsibilities, or don't add to it with things like DVUSD and things of those nature that we've talked about until we have adequate support for those things. Ms. O'Brien.
Mrs. Fisher, I appreciate that you commented there about DVUSD, because I was trying to understand what additional responsibilities or what items that you would want governing board members to do for themselves to help alleviate that workload. If there's
yeah, there's actually a lot we can do ourselves. I know there's procurement rules as far as and so we would always have to rely on Kim to or that position or someone in the office to provide, say, a purchase order. We all go to ASBA events. They can do a blanket purchase order for ASBA, encumber the funds, the purchase order's in place, and we can make our own arrangements. We don't have to necessarily rely in that area. If there's an item that we're going to bring forward or an article, we can write it and get it prepared, get it prepped. When we send something to Kim, don't just send it and expect that she's going to. Editing takes time, a lot of time. Make sure that we do that kind of thing. I'm just asking that if we're not going to do it now, that we just, as a board, come together, respect the position, and make sure that we don't add to it ourselves.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I guess the only thing I'll add is I don't really know that we're going to do anything to make your life hard. So if we do, just send me a private email and We'll do something on our end to dial it back. I'll even tell Jenny to do it too.
Oh, fine. She's already
We'll
starting
all
to
tell
boss me
them.
around. You'll all tell Jenny to dial
So
it
we
back.
have a
Thank
motion
you.
and a second. Let's just go ahead and vote. All those in favor? All those against?
Nay.
Nay.
I will abstain. Next, sorry. Normally we have two books. Ms. Frank and I are sharing.
Oh, do you want it's a preview item. It's a preview.
Yeah,
Preview
our
item
last
for
one is
2013 B Bond Series C sale, and that would be
That
Mr.
would be
Mig.
Mr. Migarino.
Good evening, President Fisher, members of the board, Dr. Weitenheimer. We have a 20-minute presentation regarding the bond. Okay, maybe not 20 minutes, I promise.
They
Wanted to-
I've
give
got-
us projectiles
I have the
up here,
under
just so you
on
know.
that.
I'm just kidding. Just wanted to provide a preview of the bond sale that we intend to bring to the board at the next board meeting, so that we have an understanding of what it is that we intend to present to you. So just a little bit of background. Back in November of 2013, the voters of our community supported the bond initiative just over $158 million, and just over 57.5% voted in favor of that bond. I won't read through this list, but this list includes all those things that make up the $158 million. The packet requires that we break this up between those things that are be non-administrative, or read that to be school-based, and then those things that would be non-school-based or administrative. You can see the lion's share of this $152 million, just over $152.8 million of it is going to be improvements at the schools, where $5.5 million of it is slated for non-school campuses. Just kind of an overview, the bond, although approved in November 2013, we don't sell $158 million worth of bonds immediately after the election. Our taxes would go up exponentially if we were to do that, and we also don't have the appetite to spend $158 million all at once either. And so we do this in issuances or sales. This will be the third sale of this authorization. We label these, we're not very creative. I apologize, and will do so time and time again. So it's Series A is the first sale, Series B is the second sale. So Series C, this is the third sale. The first two sales were for $25 and $30 million respectively. Back in 2015 and 2016. That leaves us with just over $103 million worth of the authorization, and we are in the planning stages for what this series, the third series, would be. We're projecting it to be about $30 million. That is done through a resolution, and that is what we would bring forth for the board to consider on January 24th. That resolution would then give us the authority, the school district personnel, specifically the superintendent and or myself, to be able to actually participate in the necessary steps to conduct the sale. And that sale would be overseen by many professionals. So we do use a financing team known as underwriters, and then our bond counsel as well, as we work through that process. Also, part of that process is we would also go through the outside rating process, where Fitch and Moody's will provide a rating of the financial well-being, if you will, of the district. We have a preliminary plan for what we're plan to spend the funds at this time. I mentioned this as preliminary. We think the sale would be somewhere around $30 million. We think it probably could be anywhere between $20 and $30 million. We're still working on the plan. The plan is a calendar year plan, so when we say a 2017 budget, it's for the entire year of 2017 that we would be expending the $20 or $30 million. Curriculum and technology needs, a lot of this is technology related, either for our one-to-one initiative or for replacements of technology and or upgrades to networks. $7.7 million. Building renewal, this is to be able to maintain our facilities, $3.8 million. Campus safety, $3.3 million. Conservation efforts, which include mechanical systems, lighting improvements, energy controls, $4.9 million. The Desert Sky Middle School modernization project is included in this sale for $8 million, and then transportation needs $850,000. So in terms of the next steps, once the resolution is considered and if it is approved by the board on January 24th, we will offer those in a public marketplace. The bonds are sold in $5,000 denominations, and they are competitively priced. And then once that is concluded, then the proceeds become available to us. We anticipate that will be sometime in the middle of February, just pending again how the market fares working with those professionals. And I'd be happy to answer any questions the board might have.
Any questions?
I would, if you could go back to the slide that showed what the money would be spent on, I would be interested, and I certainly don't want a laundry list of everything you're spending the money on, but when it says curriculum and technology-related needs, maybe a little more specific information in terms of transportation. How is that being spent in transportation? And what does campus safety entail? Those are, I guess what I'm saying is those are very broad categories, and I was wondering if you had a little more specific information within those categories.
Certainly, President
Not
Fisher,
asking for a laundry list of a million things, but.
President Fisher and Ms. Frank, I'd be happy to share that information. There's $4 million in replacement technology, $1.2 million in e-textbook initiative, $350,000 in peripherals, printers, smart boards, things of that nature, just under $2 million in network infrastructure, and $175,000 in some replacement furniture for some curriculum needs in specific locations. That makes up the $7.7 million. The campus safety, we have $1 million in front office security, phase 2 of the front office security. In addition to that, we have several playground improvements that are necessary. I can give you the dollar amounts there as well. I'm sorry, so intercom improvements, fire panels, and Americans with Disabilities ADA access, those all total $2.1 million. $1 million in, again, the front office safety, and the balance is in playground improvements. And for for the transportation, $750,000 is for our bus fleet replacement program, and $100,000 of that is for white fleet replacement, so non-bus related replacements.
Thank you very much for the information.
Jim, I just have one request. I do appreciate you putting the attorneys of record on the item so that we see who they are. Knowing that I do not trust this attorney, I ask that you get it to us with adequate time for me to do my own research and verify the documentation so that I can vote confidently when we return, or when it's actually here for a vote, because of my doubts of their integrity. I do understand that they're the only attorney we currently have that does this work, and that's the reason for the use.
And President Fisher, I appreciate you reminding me of that. And there are a couple other firms that do this work.
Just not with us yet.
But not with the Deer Valley School District, I don't think, in decades or ever. I just don't want to say that without knowing for certain. So I'd be happy to get this information to you as quickly as possible.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I was recently informed that there's some new representatives or new attorneys in town that are specifically working with bonds. I've heard a lot of really impressive things. However, I understand the procurement rules, and we're currently where we're at. So I appreciate that. Darcy?
I just had two questions. So either with the technology, I wasn't sure, or the building renewal, Is the issue where the TVs aren't working in the classroom or something and they're running through the VCRs? Is that getting resolved in this?
President Fisher, Ms. Tweedy, I'm not sure. I'm not certain what you're speaking of. So
I guess they were saying, I think, I'm trying to remember, but if you go to, when they went to high definition, then the TVs quit working in all the classrooms. And somehow it was running through the VCR, and then they couldn't get rid of the VCR, but the TVs in the classrooms aren't working. They can only run the scroll of the announcements. Actually, I'm seeing some head nods. That might be a good resource to ask what's going on. But is that included in the technology? Is that getting fixed this year?
I don't believe it is. I think what you're speaking of, and I'm not 100% certain, is that when Cox Communication changed to for FAA rules, when they changed to a digital signal that is now requires a box to convert, we no longer can get digital TV for free from Cox, which we used to be able to. That has nothing to do with the plans to replace the technology that's in here.
Are you just going to keep it in the classrooms then, or I just wasn't sure. Is the TVs just going to stay in the classroom and not work, or what's the plan?
We have very few TVs in the classrooms, so we project from projectors. So they're not actual televisions per se that are in classrooms. We do have a few of those, but they can stream from a computer, so they can actually access online content and stream it, but they cannot watch live television.
I would recommend that we get some clarity. Perhaps if there's a specific situation, that we do that. Get it sent, because it's not specific to the bond, though. Yeah, it's not specific to the bond.
In there. And then on the transportation, are we going to be on track then with the replacement and have enough new buses? Does this put us on track with transportation?
It does put us on track with the plan. So it's $750,000 for 7 years. So this is the same plan that was part of the initial offering that was approved by the voters. We did accelerate that last year and spent $1 million on top of the $750,000 worth of some of the Prop 123 money to accelerate the plan. So per the plan back in 2013 when this is considered, we're ahead of the plan, but that's not as a result of the bond. It's as a result of a commitment from the proceeds of Prop 123 to buy an additional $1 million worth of buses. So this is part of the plan.
Okay.
Any other comments? Okay, seeing none. Do we have any public comments? No? No public comments. Future meetings are posted. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.